Hi there, it's Sam from pootles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you for joining me in SpringWatch. This is 2 weeks of projects that are coming out back to back every single day, focusing on the spring catalogue and of course a little bit of the celebration catalogue. And today's project is my painted blooms bag. Isn't it beautiful? The painted blooms suite is stunning. I love it. There's a stamp set, there's paper, it's just gorgeous and I really like it. And this is the original one I've made, focuses on the beautiful, beautiful Blackberry Bliss colour, which is where I've reflected it here, with a little bit of Daffodil Delight. I'm going to still use the same paper, but just change it very slightly. So the piece of paper you need, 6 by 4 inches, 15 by 10 centimetres. So not very big, so you're going to get, oh, what's that, 6 out of a sheet? Yes, 6 out of a sheet of cardstock. My brain not working today. So 6 out of a sheet of cardstock. And with the long side at the top, you score it at 7/8 of an inch, 2 3/4, 3 5/8 of an inch, and 5.5 inches, which is 2.5, 7, 9.5, and 14 centimetres. Then turn it around and score it again at 7/8 of an inch. And then you also need a panel for this part here, which we're going to use with the scallop tag top punch. That measures 2 by 3 inches, which is 5 by 7.5 inches, and we're going to score it twice at 1.5. Oh, got jumping stylus today. 1.5 and 1 5/8 of an inch, which is 3.5 and 4 centimetres, and that's just so you get this nice neat close here. So that's my scoring done. Come to the bag in a second because I've got this in my hand anyway. So just fold both these score lines and burnish them, and then we're going to pop them through the new ornate tag topper. There we go. You should be able to see that. It's got this lovely little ornate finish just here, and because it's a perfect 2 inch 5 centimetre mark, it just goes through beautifully. Now on my first one I did put I did punch both ends. If you don't like having the hole, because obviously there is a hole that goes in it, just leave that end flat, and I will show you how to make, prettify it. And you just do it with your corner rounder and just round off the edges, and then you get a slightly different finish on the back of it, so you don't get this hole in the back. So, there's options for you. We like options. Okay, stamping. Let's do the stamping next. Why not? Let's go out of order. Painted petal stamp set. I love it. I absolutely love it. I can see myself using all of it, although I focused on these ones mostly and these in other projects that I've got going on. But I can't see any of it that I wouldn't use, really, to be honest. And I'm kind of the feeling that if you have a stamp set, or if you see a stamp set or a paper and you like 50% of it, get it. Because you will use that 50% of it so much that it kind of negates the fact that you're not using the other half. So, into some Blackberry Bliss ink, onto my piece of Whisper White. Put that out of the way for a second. Oh, I've got a centre of my flowers gone walkabout. That's just outrageous. Obviously didn't put that down well enough. And I'm going to punch this with the 1 1/4 inch circle punch, which fits beautifully around it. And then I'm going to punch out 3 flowers with the Itty Bitty Accents 4 petal flower, again in Whisper White. Whoopsie daisy. I've got all of those. And then I've got a bit more Blackberry Bliss, and I'm going to cut the 1 3/8 of an inch circle out of that. Come back in with my ink, and I've just lost one of those flowers. 1, 2, oh, there it is, 3. Sponge, and I want to sponge these ones up with Blackberry Bliss. I could have picked out maybe the blue or the rose red, but I fancy the Blackberry Bliss again. Because it's amazing how a paper can look very different with different coloured cardstocks backing it. I could have chosen any one of those colours, and it just looks ever so slightly different. And put that away because I've got some Daffodil Delight to go around my circle, just sort of to tie all of those colours together. Okay, where's my mat? I'm going to lift all of these up So the back of your paper piercer into the middle, and I've got my candy dots here, and this is the Brights collection, which is where the Daffodil Delight is from. I actually had run out of Daffodil Delight in my packet that is on the go. I probably could have got away with using crushed curry or So Saffron, which I have plenty of, rather than starting a new packet, but I'm being a bit of a purist today, making sure my colours are exact. But it's a small enough accent that, you know, if you've run out of a colour, find something that's close to it. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay, so a couple of dimensionals, one on the back of there to elevate it onto the 1 3/8 of an inch circle, and one there ready. So I'm going to pop those out of the way and put this little bag together. So fold your score lines. Oops. There we go. And then the little bit to trim off, so you've got, when you hold it in the horizontal way, you've got 4 score lines. It's the one with the smallest sort of rectangular panel. You need to get rid of that, and then just cut straight up the others. It's a box style or bag style that I've made plenty of times, but it's so effective, it really is. So use some snail or some sticky strip, whichever you fancy. Because it's paper, it's okay, you don't need to use a super strong adhesive. So fold that over and close it, and then this will be the back, so you fold in the sides, then the back, and then the next panel to the front, and stick that down. Push in your side bits, and this is what's going to hold the bag together. And now you come and adhere this to it, which is how it ends up like that. So you need to put some sticky strip, something strong on this, or some fuse or something, which is what I'm going to use. So something with a bit of oomph behind it. Oops, slightly gummed up. And if you position the front in place first, let me find the back of my box. So if you position the front, line it all up on the front, and then fold it over, you know you've got it all in the right place then. For when it closes up, pretty, very pretty. And then I want to obviously get a hole in there because that's how I'm closing it. So when it's closed, push your paper piercer in, and then I'm using my handheld punch. This is the 1 3/8, no, it's the 1/8 of an inch handheld punch, and I can, it's a bit full at the moment, there we go, and I can see through, I can see from my angle, you probably can't. I'm just going to have a look and see if you can, and I can go straight over that hole. And then I've got a funny close to this. I've got my ribbon, Daffodil Delight of course, to match. I'm going to cut off a length and tie a knot down in this part here. And I'm going to try and keep it quite short. That wasn't short at all, was it? That's okay, we're going to trim off that bit anyway. So that is going to go inside, and it's going to act like an anchor. So you can just feed these bits through. Again, use maybe paper piercer or a stylus or something just to push through. And you can't do this part before you've built the box, because you don't know where your hole is going to be until you've made it, really. So it's not something you can do in advance, so you have to be a little bit dexterous with your fingers. So there we go. So that has pulled through, and those two bits just go straight through there. And then fold it over, and I have got a peg handy just to hold it closed while I bimble around trying to tie a bow. I'm getting better at this bow stuff, aren't I? There we go. So that's that done. Just trim those off. And then just stick all your little bits on. So take the backing off that into there, and then we're going to stick these on with mini glue dots. So one at the top and one next to it, because they look nice when you've got a little cluster. And then one over there. And that is my Painted Blooms bag done. How sweet. I like it. It's very cute. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to speak to you soon. Bye.